If you are thinking of having bariatric surgery or you're planning to have bariatric surgery, this video is not for you. It's for your friend. It's for your friend and your family. We're going to talk about how to support people who are having bariatric surgery. So if that's you, I want you to know bariatric surgery is not an easy fix. It's not a little short-term diet. It's for life, and it is a hard journey. And having one person, just one person in that person's life can make a world of difference. And I want to talk to you today about ways you can be that person. My name is Sean. I had a mini gastric bypass in March 2022. I lost 140 pounds, 88% of my excess weight, and now I help other people who are planning to have bariatric surgery. And this video is some of that help because I know how important it is to have a support network around you that really gets it. And I also know how hard it is to find that support network. And I want to help you show up and be that friend. You're going to be that person in a good way. Okay, are you ready? We're going to get into it. Okay, let's start with one of the biggest concerns that loved ones have. And let's get some facts, and then let's talk about what to do with that. Because it is important. Your mindset is important if you're going to be the support person for the person who's having the weight loss surgery. A lot of people worry about the risk. They worry that there's going to be huge complications or that there's a high risk of death. Bariatric surgery is a lot more sophisticated now than it was 20, 50, 60 years ago. Now it's done laparoscopically. It's safer than getting a knee replacement. It's safer than having your appendix out. The death rate is 0.13% in the first 30 days after having weight loss surgery. 0.13%, or about 1 in 1,000. The risk of having a serious complication is about 4%. On the flip side, and what a lot of loved ones don't think about, are the risks of having obesity. The person that you love who's thinking about weight loss surgery is now, if they qualify, they are now at a high enough body mass index or BMI that their weight is now posing a risk to their health and their well-being and their mobility. And they may have coexisting conditions along with that that is further putting their health and their lifespan at risk. Having weight loss surgery can reduce the risk of early death from obesity by as much as 50%. So when you look at the risk of bariatric surgery versus the risk of continuing to live with obesity, you can make a really good case for having weight loss surgery. Not to mention that this person might be able to alleviate, treat, or even put some conditions into remission. Like weight loss surgery can now put type 2 diabetes into remission. It can reverse sleep apnea. It can help people get their blood pressure into a normal zone and they can get off medications. Think about all of the medications and how much they cost in the United States and how much money this person might be able to save in healthcare costs as a result of having weight loss surgery. They may have back pain or knee pain or other mobility issues that are keeping them from living a full life and enjoying time with kids and time outdoors and just doing things they want to do. And having weight loss surgery may be able to give them that life and that quality of life back. So there's a lot that can be gained that you might not be thinking of if this person has weight loss surgery. So acknowledge the fear that you have. Root it in facts and get grounded so that way you can alleviate your own fear. And then if they're open to it, approach your friend or approach that family member and listen to what they're concerned about. Ask them why and really truly listen. Don't say anything. Don't fight back or don't counter it. Just listen. What are they concerned about that makes them want to have surgery or is making them explore weight loss surgery? That's the first thing that you can do. That'll be huge because not many people do that. That'll be a huge gift just for you to be present and to listen to what they're concerned about. It's hard to talk about all those things if you're someone who has obesity and you're thinking about surgery. It's really hard to talk about these things. If you can be that person, that is a huge, huge gift. Okay, the second thing that you can do, is a segue from the first one, and that is educate yourself. Educate yourself about what obesity is and how complex it can be. I'm going to give you a starter, and then there's going to be some resources in the video notes. Obesity, a lot of people think obesity is like a lack of personal control or a lack of willpower, or you just let yourself go. And what science now knows is that obesity is a chronic disease. The American Medical Association acknowledged that obesity is a chronic disease back in 2012. And they also acknowledge that it requires ongoing medical care. And there are now medical protocols for diagnosing stages of obesity. So it has stages. And then there's protocols for medical treatment for obesity. Everything from lifestyle change, diet and exercise, all the way to medication or surgery or a combination of medication and surgery. Obesity is a very complex disease. There are over 300 genes alone that are related to, associated with, or can cause obesity. Then there's hormones and brain chemistry and even the environment that can all contribute to having obesity. And there's a different mix for everybody, like there's different causes for everyone. So it really is complex. It is both progressive and relapsing. There's no cure. There's only a treatment. And surgery is the most effective treatment, even at this point, still more effective than weight loss medication. There are weight loss medications in the development pipeline, but those are years away that may become as effective as surgery. But right now, surgery is the most effective, and it's cost effective because surgery, what you pay for surgery, say $13,000, that's like a year of being on some of the more expensive weight loss medications. And so surgery can be a really effective and cost-effective tool to help this person manage their obesity. So learn more about obesity. One of the resources you can go to is the ASMBS. I'll drop this link in the video notes. It's the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. And there's some information there that you can read to learn more about the nature of obesity and why surgery is such an important tool for your loved one. All right, let's go to the third thing that you can do. Start practicing compassionate language. You notice as I've been talking, I always say obesity or someone has obesity versus calling someone obese. Like I don't say obese. Like that is a dated term. We want to use what's called people first language. So we say he or she or they have obesity. The other thing is that we don't say morbid obesity. We also don't say comorbid conditions, or we don't say comorbidities. That's becoming dated too. Now we say coexisting conditions. So try to practice compassionate language. Does this matter? It does. There's research that shows that compassionate language and empathy can really make a difference. When people face weight bias, it keeps them from going to the doctor to get the medical care that they need, and their health can get worse because they're intimidated about going to the doctor, and they're intimidated about having honest conversations about their obesity and about the conditions and the things that they're experiencing. So compassionate language and having empathy really do matter and can make a measurable impact, a positive impact on that person's outcome. All right, number 4, support that person making their own choices. A lot of times, and I'm speaking from experience, but also I've been a health journalist, I've been a diet editor, I've worked for a weight loss clinic. There are people in that person's life who feel like they have to be the food police and tell them, oh, you shouldn't be eating that. But support that person making their own food choices and their own choices for how they're going to drive their health. This is their life, and they can manage their own health. They're an adult. They're capable of managing their own health. And a lot of times there's so much gaslighting and so much bias that it almost makes that person question their ability to manage their own health. But now they're pursuing surgery, and they're getting a team around them of people, of medical professionals who will support them making their own decisions and will try to empower them to be in the driver's seat of managing their health. And you, as a friend or family member, can really help support that. Like, let that person make their own choices, like whatever they want to eat. Like, you don't know if they've already set aside or budgeted some calories to be able to eat something as a treat, right? Or, they may be exploring what they can and can't eat in the days and weeks and months after surgery. They may need a little wiggle room in the grocery budget to be able to figure out what they can tolerate and what they can't. Surgery can change your taste buds. It can make you lactose intolerant. Things that you used to eat before just feel different on your stomach. Sometimes people get really sensitive to temperature, like they can't tolerate hot things, hot drinks anymore, or hot soups, or they can't tolerate cold. Like, I could not do ice cold drinks. I'm 3 years out and I still have trouble with that. So let that person empower them. Like, they can eat. Let them decide to eat. Let them decide what to eat without anyone questioning it. And empower them and respect their ability to drive their health and to make their own choices for what they eat and for how they manage their health. So that's a huge thing that you can do, is supporting that person making their own choices. All right. The next thing you can do, which segues from this, is let them change their food environment. Some people really need to clear out the pantry and clear out the refrigerator just to kind of reduce the food noise, so that way they can really focus on what they need to do, especially in the pre-op diet. There are different types of pre-op diets, so different surgeons have different pre-op diets. That person may need to do a liquid diet for maybe several weeks, or they may have some kind of restricted diet where they can't eat certain foods. Carbs is a big thing. Like, a lot of pre-op diets tell people to avoid all kinds of carbs, like everything from bread and pasta, obviously cookies and cakes and all the baked stuff, but even sometimes beans and fruit, like those are restricted in the pre-op diet phase sometimes. It just depends on what the surgeon and the dietitian recommend. But support that person being able to change the food environment so that way they can succeed on their pre-op diet. And then in the post-op phase, they're going to be on a diet that takes maybe 4 to 6 weeks, where they have to progress from clear liquids all the way to eating solid food. And it changes from week to week. So let that person figure out what they need to put in the refrigerator, what they need in the pantry, what needs to come out so they can really focus. That is not to deprive you. Of course, you've got it. If you live with them, you still deserve to have food around you that you like to eat too. But maybe you adjust how visible things are, where things are placed in the kitchen, so that way you can support them focusing on what they need to do. If that person usually cooks for you, resume cooking for yourself for a couple of weeks, so that way they don't have to be tempted, or they can really focus on what they need to do. Learn to cook a few dishes, or cook a few dishes and put them in the freezer so you have some things. Get some healthy takeout for yourself. I was really fortunate. I had a roommate who is a chef, and he did a lot of takeout or cooked when I wasn't around. And so that way he did that all during my pre-op and then during my post-op. He was such a champion. I so appreciated that. So I could really focus on what I needed to do, and I wasn't tempted or distracted until I was able to start eating solid foods and I was in a groove about what I wanted to eat to support my goals. So that's a huge gift if you can give the person in your life that gift. All right, something else that you can do is social life is still very important, and a lot of social life hinges around food. Like, we all go out to eat to celebrate birthdays and holidays. We have family over for big feasts, etc. Help that person maintain a social life and use non-food ways to do it. Okay, so maybe instead of focusing on food, maybe you kind of balance and bring in some games or some songs or going someplace fun, like, maybe going to see a movie. That way, that person can still enjoy time with their friends and family that isn't focused around food. And ask them what they would like to do. Let them be involved in planning. Having a social life, a healthy social life, is part of good health. You can support this person's health journey by giving them avenues to be able to do that. Okay, here's another one that was really important for me. I had such a great friend on this. Offer to exercise together. Ask this person if they're comfortable with that, if it will be helpful to them. But then here's how to approach it, or here's what helped me. And again, please talk to the person in your life that's having surgery about what would really help them. A lot of people think they are going to be the exercise buddy to the person who needs to lose weight or is trying to lose weight. And they almost feel like they have to be the unpaid coach. And you don't need to do that. Sometimes going into the gym can be so intimidating that just having a friend to go into the gym with you is all you need, right? I had a really good friend. She was a news anchor. And so it was hard for her to go to the gym because people who were in our viewing area would recognize her from being on TV and come up to her and interrupt her all the time. So she had a hard time going to the gym because she couldn't get in a good workout for people interrupting her. Me, on the other hand, I didn't like going to the gym because I was intimidated and I felt like, you just feel weird. Like, you feel like people are looking at you like, why are you there? Or you don't belong there. So we became really great workout buddies. We got on the treadmill together. She was going at her pace. I was going at mine, but we talked to each other. I didn't feel alone or feel like everybody was staring at me because of my size. And she had someone to talk to. So that way people were a little more reluctant to come up and interrupt her. So we were great workout buddies because we could help each other socially that way. Sometimes all it takes is just having someone else to be there. That is a huge gift. So consider offering that if that person's open to it and says that would be helpful to them. All right. Another thing that you can do is to offer to split meals. You can do this at home and you can do this dining out. It really helps at home because say like ground meat, ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, it comes in 1 pound packages. And when you're a bariatric patient, you're kind of working up from clear liquids to eating a quarter cup of food, eating a third of a cup of food to maybe now I'm 3 years out. I eat maybe a half a cup or 2/3 of a cup of food at a time. So I'm not eating a lot. And a package of ground beef stretches out pretty far and can get really boring before I finish it off. And the same thing with other things. So like produce, I was really struggling with produce going bad before I could finish it. So if you can at home help that person make meals at home by splitting them or somehow planning meal planning so that way you're avoiding food waste and going through food fast enough so that you don't have a lot of leftovers, and getting some variety, that would be super helpful. I can tell you that. The other thing is you can split meals when you're going out. I have 2 friends. One friend is also a bariatric patient. The other one is someone who isn't a bariatric patient. And they both will split meals with me when I go out. Also have some of my relatives, my cousins will split meals with me. And sometimes we'll decide before we go out, what I'm interested in or talk about a couple of dishes that we might wait till we get to the restaurant. And they'll split a plate with me. And I really appreciate that. So these are some of the ways that you can support someone in your life who is having bariatric surgery. The main thing, if you don't do any of these other things, if you don't listen to anything else I've said, and I'm curious, like if there's anything that I've mentioned that you think you can do, drop that in the comments or things that you already do. Or if you have other suggestions, or if that person in your life has said, I wish you would help me this way, or this would really be a great help for me. Drop that in the comments. I think this is a great place where we can share ways to support each other and to support the people in our lives. The most important thing that you can do is really just listen to that person, listen to what they're concerned about, listen to what their challenges are, and just listen. You don't have to have all the answers, but just listen and offer, ask them what they would like to explore. Maybe they just need to experiment with some things and you can be there to support the experiment. Maybe they have a specific idea of what they would like to do or what help they need and you can offer that. But really just listen to that person about what they need. And that is part of empowering them to be in the driver's seat with their health. Just be there to support. That is so huge and it's rare. And that's how you become that one person that is just golden. Thank you if you're still with me for listening. Thank you for being that friend. Like really, seriously, thank you. That is huge. I'm thanking you on behalf of the person in your life who's thinking about bariatric surgery. Thank you so much. That's huge, 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 huge. Okay, so if you are having bariatric surgery or you're helping a partner or a friend or a relative, I have a couple of tools that can help this person on their journey. In the video notes, I've got a link to something called the Bariatric Surgery Explorer. This will help them compare different procedures to see what procedure they might be interested in, and they can take a short list and go talk to their surgeon about it. And then also there's a cost comparison tool. So you can compare like a sleeve to a bypass. And you can also compare procedures across different countries, Mexico and Turkey. That's also a huge way that you can be helpful too. Like if this person is thinking about medical tourism, they might need a buddy to go to Mexico with them. That would be huge. That would be really huge. All right, but that's the tool I've got there, the Bariatric Surgery Explorer. The other one is that I offer one-on-one support calls. I am not a medical professional. I'm a health journalist, and I've been where they are. And it took me 2 years from the time that I decided to have weight loss surgery to actually getting in the operating room. Granted, COVID was happening during my journey, but if I had had some really good support, I probably could have shaved a year off of that time. And so I now offer the kind of support that I needed in terms of how to find a surgeon, how to find a surgery center outside of the United States, what to do if you need to appeal your insurance decisions, how to finance if you have to pay out of pocket. And I just help people create a roadmap to having bariatric surgery so that way they can save time and maybe even save some money. I have a Calendly link in the video notes. You can book some time that works for you. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. We'll have a 1-hour call. We'll focus on what's important to you. After the call, I send an email that recaps everything we've talked about. I'll send some resources, and that becomes your roadmap to having bariatric surgery and getting on your health journey. So if I can help you, please go ahead and book. If you are still with me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being willing to be the friend, the rare friend. Like seriously, thank you. A lot of people don't get it, and it's really rare to have somebody who does. And I know I've said thank you multiple times, but I can tell you, like, the people in my life who have been what I just described in this video, golden, so golden. So thank you so much. And I wish your friend, if you're the person having bariatric surgery, I wish you a good health journey. Thank you for watching.